Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, students, and friends. We meet at a time when the world feels both restless and uncertain. Yet in these times, more than ever, I believe the right to education is an empowering and transformative right, and not just because I'm the Special Rapporteur on Education. It's a pathway through which people access, claim, and shape all other human rights. It's a vital thread that weaves the tapestries of both current realities and unfolding, untold futures. Moving forward demands us to think of the right to education not as a remote and abstract legal concept, but as it is lived every day in classrooms, community spaces, refugee camps, jails, tents, and online, under trees and bombed-out shelters, as environments where millions of people, especially the young, search for meaning, safety, and a place to belong. Sadly, our educational systems are under profound strain. In too many places, public financing is declining. In crises, schools are attacked, closed, or used as shelters. The expanding use of digital tools increasingly pushes education to be responsive to market priorities, not pedagogical needs and care. Curricula are politicized, and teachers without whom there would be no education are undervalued, underpaid, and exhausted. If we're serious about human rights, we have to be serious about protecting the right to education and education. Education enables the participation in socioeconomic life. It supports the right to work by nurturing capabilities for safe and freely chosen livelihoods. But education mustn't just be a pipeline for marketable skills. A person who only learns to meet the demands of a labor market will be able to function, but not necessarily flourish. Education is so much more. It transmits values and visions of desired futures, nurtures a sense of individual and collective self. The right to education is the right to develop to the full potential one can. It should equip people to understand the dynamics at play in their lives, make informed choices, navigate uncertainty, and exercise agency to contribute to all the communities they belong to and to our collective well-being. Education strengthens the right to health, including mental health, by providing meals, but also fostering confidence, self-awareness, and supportive relationships. Around the world, there's an alarming rise in anxiety, depression, and isolation among young people. Many feel overwhelmed, unheard, or under immense pressure to perform and adapt to rapidly changing socioeconomic realities. Schools are often the first place where these struggles manifest, and they can either further harm or be a source of protection and care. Comprehensive sexuality education grounded in human rights and scientific evidence equips young people with the knowledge and skills to understand their bodies, form respectful relationships, and make informed choices. Teaching nutrition can help learners understand how food, health, environment, and economic conditions are interlinked, enabling choices that support well-being, growth, and dignity. Education prepares individuals to participate in public life. It should teach democracy as a practice that must be renewed each day through listening, dialogue, and responsibility to others. For girls and young women, education can be profoundly transformative. When girls learn, social norms shift, families transform, entire communities change. Supporting girls' education is a powerful investment in equality. Education should encourage critical reflection on power dynamics that underpin gender and other identity-based discrimination and help to prevent discrimination, violence, and abuse. Education should not only promote individual well-being, but also healthier and more equitable societies. Education should support people's right to self-determination, enable communities to imagine desired futures and choose pathways for this. Supporting the freedom of religion and belief by teaching respect, empathy, and historical awareness is part of this endeavor. Education nurtures the capacity to reflect, speak, question, and hold power to account. Hence, the right to education is foundational. Academic freedom ensures schools, Universities and research institutions remain protected spaces for reflection, scientific and artistic creativity, lively debates, and dynamic thinking. Curtailing academic freedom deprives societies of the capacity to honestly consider and understand the complex problems we confront, as well as the human creativity necessary for overcoming these. Education also transmits memory, belonging, and identity across generations, where children first encounter narratives of who they are and who they might become. It's thus vital that curricula and classrooms mirror the diversity of communities so that all students can learn and value cultural diversity and divergent experiences, that we can and must learn from each other and together, not as privileged insiders or excluded outsiders looking in. This is crucial for communities that are marginalized or silenced. But when their heritage is reflected and respected in textbooks, classrooms, and teaching practices, education no longer requires them to choose between their identity and dignity on the one hand and participation on the other. Instead, it affirms that they belong and that their knowledge and their experience contributes to everyone's collective future. Multi-voice history teaching can help societies confront past harm, prevent denial and erasure, and cultivate responsibility towards one another and the future. This is especially critical in situations of armed conflict and post-conflict, which I'm not going to dwell on here as I just presented my report on this to the General Assembly. But I do want to stress the vitality of the continued right to education in all emergencies, when education can be a lifeline, a source of protection, stability, and hope, offer psychosocial healing, and preserve the continuity of communities. Education is an intergenerational endeavor, and as climate crises reshape life possibilities across the world, curricula must reflect this urgency. But climate education cannot be just technical or scientific. It must also be ethical, culturally sensitive, and embrace Indigenous and other knowledge systems which teach reciprocity and care. Education must create a pathway for intergenerational justice, which means educating in a way that honors the earth we inhabit and empowers those who inherit it. I must stress that human rights education, to me, is not a specialized topic. It is a way of teaching and learning which is grounded in dignity, empathy, and shared responsibility. It helps turn rights from simple words into lived practice. When people learn how to engage in civic dialogue, how to recognize injustice, and how to take action, they truly become co-authors of their societies. And they should also co-author educational curricula. As Her Excellency said earlier, human rights education must be with, for, and by the youth. Of course, none of this can happen without educators who are central to the right to education. When teachers are underpaid and lack job security, learning environments suffer. Supporting teacher well-being and nurturing their practice of human rights is not an act of charity, it's a human rights obligation. Excellencies, colleagues, students, friends, if we want peaceful, sustainable, and just societies, we must treat education as a universal, public, and common good, not a commodity, not a privilege, a right for all. We must protect education in emergencies, ensure educational institutions are safe for everyone, support teacher well-being and fair labor conditions, ensure public funding and equitable resources, and, as the High Commissioner said, anchor human rights in our economies. We must govern digital education in the public interest and ensure responsible and inclusive use of EdTech. We must promote inclusive, culturally grounded curricula, safeguard academic freedom, educate with a responsibility to future generations. Education, in my view, is not only a preparation for life, education is life. It is humanity learning how to live together today and in the future. Thank you.